Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John. This reports for the 23rd. Well, the market is continuing to be excited by the fact that the world isn't going to end over Greenland and that there's been some agreement. However, there's this belief that the EU has somehow won out on this because they were going to, sell U.S. treasuries or block the trade deal. But all that stuff's going to go through, and again, the U.S. is going to end up winning on this. And when you look at it, before there was no discussion of Greenland, and now the U.S. has pretty much created like a miniature city-state, like the Vatican, or even the United Nations, where U.S. will have complete autonomy on those areas in Greenland that it's operating. So, still in that win, they're going to be able to do whatever they want. So, uh, whether you call it ownership or not, still ends up being a net same result, which would not have happened had you not done anything. So could it have been done differently? Yeah, probably. But it created some excitement, and the market moved accordingly. When you look at it from an NQ standpoint, the earnings from the companies coming out are still positive. And that's enough to keep pushing things back towards modest highs. They still got some work to do. It's still a question of whether or not the AI trade is going to translate into real dollars. And the idea that there's going to be this new QE is really what's uh, damaging the dollar, because they know that Trump wants lower interest rates. He's going to be replacing Powell. Will he be able to fire other Fed not chairs, but just members, still before the Supreme Court won't be decided till the end of the year. So all these things are delayed until towards midterms and that, which it just puts things further behind. From an oil standpoint, it's not getting any benefit whatsoever. And now we're looking at this mid upper 50s as the baseline, and that's going to take even more time to absorb completely. But from an investment standpoint, then in the U.S., yeah, you got such good economic numbers. It's going to take some time for it to realize, and you can see the excitement from the eurozone. Because their de facto war with Russia is going to continue. So theoretically, they're going to be using euros to, add to their defense structure and spend. But they think that that somehow is better than the dollar. Makes no sense, but that's the prevailing wisdom at this particular point. I think it's going to collapse in an ugly way, because you're not going to be able to trump the, and pun intended, the numbers that are going to come out of the U.S. from a production standpoint versus the EU, and it's just going to be staggeringly lopsided. And then what justification do you have to be in a euro? It's not going to make any sense whatsoever. So that's a trade looking for a disaster. It's a matter of waiting for the narrative change. From a gold standpoint, yeah, this is not a surprise, and it's exactly what we expected. It's going to continue. There's no abatement. The reality is the fiat currencies have lost the credibility, and actually, even if we just take a look at Bitcoin, you can see it hasn't translated into the cryptos, because again, now you get the fake argument of quantum breaking computers. That's not going to help any. That's not how the equation works. But again, stupid narratives, and people fall for it, and that's what they hear. But at the end of the day, it's still being acquired by institutions, things like that, and so they're trying to make it not seem as important so that they can get the best deal. But again, the scarcity of those is just a question of getting governments to sign on to it, and they haven't done so yet. So from our 50K standpoint, we're just seeing a little bit of soft fill for the breakdown below the 25 here of the magenta. Just now have a weak amount of short interest above the magenta, so that's going to lead to continued softness. Going to wait for a turnaround in that position. You can see it almost developing with the DOC, but the orange didn't dip below red, so it's going to take another run before it makes a pop back up. And that's just it's one of those zones where you get into after trade, it sort of like stops to reset, and you just have to wait for that. So we look at it from a 5 minute standpoint. Yeah, not attractive in any way, shape, or form. That's the long and short of it for now. As always, though, anything relevant, I will certainly put it on the team chat. Have a good one. Trade well.